Most of us never suspect that the simple act of breathing could unlock a doorway to our deeper selves, bridging body, mind, and spirit in an instant. What if every inhale held the key to tapping into potential, and every exhale carried you closer to divine revelation? Keep watching to find out. From the very moment we enter this world, breath becomes our silent companion. The first cry of a newborn is essentially the first conscious breath, a bold proclamation that a new life has begun. This simple, automatic act of inhalation and exhalation continues until the day we die, quietly providing the fuel that sustains our body. Yet, despite its crucial role in our survival, most of us seldom pause to consider its deeper implications. We might notice our breath only when we are out of breath, when we feel anxious, or when someone reminds us, "Take a deep breath." In the history of human existence, breath has both a physiological function and a profound spiritual significance. Many traditions, including Indian, Chinese, Japanese, and Polynesian, have long understood breath to be more than oxygen. They recognize it as prana, chi, ki, or mana, a vital force that connects us to the greater universe. In each culture, this concept underscores how essential breath is for not just staying alive, but for thriving. When we consider that breathing is among the first priorities in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, predating even the need for food or shelter, its importance becomes undeniable. Yet, formal education rarely addresses how to breathe properly. We are left to figure it out instinctively, often developing shallow breathing patterns that deprive our bodies of the full benefits of oxygen and life energy. Think about it. If you eat, sleep, and move incorrectly, you experience adverse health effects. Similarly, habitual shallow breathing can compromise both physical and mental well-being. In this sense, learning how to breathe properly can be a transformative tool, one that influences not only how we feel physically, but also how we engage emotionally and spiritually with the world around us. Moreover, breath can be seen as a sacred bridge linking us to the divine. In Judeo-Christian texts, the Hebrew word ruach means both wind and spirit, reinforcing the notion that breath and spirit are intertwined. In modern spiritual circles, many believe that by refining the breath, one can experience a deeper communion with God or the higher self. Psychologist Abraham Maslow famously categorized human needs into 5 primary levels: physiological, safety, love, belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. Later in his career, Maslow proposed 2 additional levels: cognitive and aesthetic needs, making the pyramid more aligned with the 7 chakras in Indian philosophy. At the base of Maslow's pyramid lie essentials like food, water, and crucially, oxygen. This is no coincidence. Without breath, all other pursuits are moot. You can survive without food for weeks, without water for a few days, but without breath, survival collapses in minutes. This fact underscores the paradox of human life. The act most vital to our existence is the one we often neglect to refine. Imagine you have a marvelous sports car. If you never change the oil or use the correct fuel, the performance suffers greatly. In our case, breath is the fuel that propels our body, mind, and spirit. Neglect it, and you risk reduced vitality, increased stress, and a weakened connection to your deeper self. Pay attention to it, refine it, and you'll discover that breath can elevate you through each layer of Maslow's hierarchy, ultimately guiding you to self-actualization or even spiritual enlightenment. Indeed, the link between proper breathing and self-actualization is not merely theoretical. Numerous yoga practitioners, meditators, and spiritual adepts attest that the quality of your breath directly influences your mindset and energy levels. When you breathe shallowly, you might find it challenging to focus, prone to anxiety or dullness. But when you adopt deep, mindful breaths, you create space within your body for oxygen to saturate your cells and for prana, life force, to circulate freely. In this open, relaxed state, higher levels of creativity, empathy, and love become more accessible. Breath, then, is not just about surviving, it's about thriving. When you intentionally develop your breath, you are essentially nurturing the foundation upon which all other needs can be met with greater ease. This is where transitions can happen. Indian philosophy introduces the concept of chakras, which are energy centers located along the spine, from the base to the crown of the head. These 7 primary chakras correlate loosely with Maslow's hierarchy. At the root is the Muladhara chakra, governing survival needs, including the breath. Higher up is the Sahasrara chakra, associated with transcendence and spiritual unity. In between lie centers linked to creativity, personal power, love, expression, and intuition. When these chakras are balanced, energy flows freely, and one experiences a harmonious state of being. Beyond the physical body, ancient scriptures describe multiple layers or bodies: the physical, pranic, mental, wisdom, and bliss bodies. Each one becomes subtler as it ascends toward pure consciousness. Prana, or life force, acts as the link between the physical and the spiritual. When you breathe well, you energize the pranic body, which in turn nourishes the mental and emotional layers. Blockages in any of these layers can manifest as physical ailments, emotional distress, or spiritual stagnation. By addressing breath, you remove these blockages at a foundational level. Kundalini energy, believed to reside at the base of the spine, offers another perspective on the transformative power of breath. Often depicted as a coiled serpent, Kundalini is said to rise up through the chakras when awakened, leading to states of heightened consciousness and divine revelation. Traditional practices, like pranayama, control of life force through breathing techniques, and meditation are key to awakening Kundalini. Far from being esoteric concepts, these practices have been shown to reduce stress, promote emotional well-being, and potentially catalyze spiritual insights. This synergy between breath, chakras, and subtle bodies highlights that our existence encompasses more than just the physical plane. When we breathe consciously, we activate energy centers that directly shape our experiences of love, creativity, intuition, and spiritual awareness. Therefore, if our breath is shallow or unrefined, we risk cutting ourselves off from these higher dimensions of experience. Conversely, mastering the breath is like turning on a switch that lights up each energy center, culminating in a sense of oneness with the divine source. The Sanskrit term prana translates directly to life force, but it implies more than just breath. It denotes the universal energy permeating all forms of life. This concept has parallels across cultures: qi in Chinese medicine, kai in Japanese traditions, and mana in various Polynesian societies. The significance is consistent across these traditions. The idea that life force is not only present within us, but also connects us to the universe at large. Prana flows through nadis, which are subtle energy channels within the human body. Various texts mention 72,000 nadis, of which Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna are considered the most important. Ida, associated with the left nostril, represents feminine, cooling, and introspective energy. Pingala, associated with the right nostril, symbolizes masculine, warming, and active energy. Sushumna running along the center of the spine, is the channel that awakens when Ida and Pingala achieve balance, paving the way for spiritual enlightenment. When the breath is shallow or tense, the flow of prana can be disrupted. This often leads to a cascade of issues: heightened stress, negative thinking patterns, and physical ailments. Conversely, conscious deep breathing enhances prana flow. One of the major principles in both yoga and Ayurveda is that diseases often stem from or are exacerbated by restricted energy flow. By resolving these blockages through breathwork, meditation, and lifestyle changes, one can address the root causes rather than just the symptoms. Crucially, the reference text emphasizes the importance of living in alignment with prana. This includes eating fresh, natural foods, drinking pure water, and spending time in sunlight and in nature. Prana is absorbed through all these elements. When we cultivate a lifestyle that respects and amplifies prana through mindful movement, healthy nutrition, adequate rest, and conscious breath, we optimize our well-being on multiple levels. In this sense, breath is not merely a moment-to-moment activity. It's a holistic way of engaging with the life force that animates everything. The practice of conscious breathing, or pranayama, transcends simple relaxation techniques. At its deepest level, it can catalyze spiritual awakening. In many traditions, the breath is considered a conduit for the Holy Spirit, or divine energy. When devotees say that God reveals instantly upon breathing in a particular manner, they refer to a lived reality, a shift in consciousness that unveils a glimpse of the divine. For instance, the Christian tradition speaks of the Holy Spirit as the breath of God, while the Greek word pneuma also means both spirit and breath. Therefore, focusing on the breath can become an act of prayer or devotion. Individuals who engage in contemplative prayer, meditative breathing, or centering practices often report mystical experiences, feelings of unconditional love, or profound peace. These accounts mirror the notion that God is always present, but our awareness of that presence is enhanced when we focus inward through breath. In the Indian context, the idea of pranayama as a spiritual discipline is well established. Different pranayama techniques, like Kapalabhati, skull-shining breath, Bhastrika, bellows breath, and Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, serve distinct purposes, ranging from energizing the body to calming the mind. What unites them is the underlying principle that controlling the breath can help direct and purify prana. As prana becomes more refined, practitioners often report elevated mental states, increased intuition, and moments of deep spiritual insight. Such experiences point to a universal truth. When breath is approached as a sacred practice, it can unlock states of consciousness that are otherwise dormant. These shifts are often described as a feeling of expanded awareness, inner luminosity, or a sense of being intimately connected to a divine source. While the spiritual implications of breath are profound, modern science also acknowledges breath as a powerful regulator of both physiology and psychology. Reduce stress hormones, regulate heart rate variability, enhance mental clarity, activate the parasympathetic nervous system. The reference notes how the diaphragm, the dome-shaped muscle separating the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity, acts like a gateway between these two systems. Shallow chest breathing often triggers the sympathetic response, keeping the body in a perpetual state of low-level stress. Over time, this can contribute to anxiety, insomnia, and chronic diseases. Diaphragmatic breathing, on the other hand, activates the parasympathetic response, calming the body and mind. This physiological response ties directly into spiritual practices. When you breathe consciously and deeply, You are not merely relaxing the body, you are also creating an inner environment conducive to experiencing expanded states of consciousness. In essence, modern science validates what yogic sages and spiritual teachers have long proclaimed, that breath is a master key to our well-being, bridging the gap between body, mind, and spirit. Ancient Indian and Japanese scriptures describe that our physical form is just one layer of existence. Beyond it, we have the pranic body, energy, the mental body, thoughts, emotions, the wisdom body, intuitive insight, and the bliss body, pure consciousness or spiritual ecstasy. Each body vibrates at a different frequency, becoming subtler as we move inward. When we speak of transformation occurring instantly, it does not necessarily mean that all blockages in these layers vanish overnight. Rather, it indicates that a conscious breath can momentarily align all these layers, offering a glimpse of their harmonious interplay. This moment can feel like a profound revelation of divine presence or cosmic unity. Repeated practice makes such moments more frequent and eventually ingrains them into daily life. Think of the layers like lenses stacked on top of each other. If they are misaligned or dirty, our view is obscured. But a single, clear breath can align these lenses, giving us a flash of pristine vision. Over time, regular polishing, through breathwork, meditation, healthy living, and self-inquiry, keeps these lenses aligned, allowing us to experience the divine more consistently. This alignment is what spiritual teachers refer to as living from the heart center, or in alignment with God's will, or being one with the universe. One glaring example is how a perpetually busy lifestyle can lead to constant chest breathing. Under chronic stress, the sympathetic nervous system remains activated, pumping out stress hormones that can disrupt sleep, digestion, and emotional equilibrium. Over time, this can reduce our prana intake and create an energetic deficit that leaves us feeling depleted. Some people turn to stimulants, coffee, energy drinks, or sugar to compensate, which in turn sets off a vicious cycle of highs and crashes. By contrast, a conscious approach to breath can interrupt this cycle. Even a simple technique, pausing for a few moments every hour to take a few slow, diaphragmatic breaths, can shift the body out of fight or flight mode. Over weeks and months of practice, this becomes a natural habit, bringing about sustained improvements in health, mood, and spiritual awareness. The reference text highlights how aligning with natural elements like eating whole foods, drinking pure water, and spending time in sunlight further supports the free flow of prana. With fewer blockages, the breath flows more easily, and our entire being becomes more receptive to divine insight. Spending time in nature is an underestimated yet powerful way to revitalize one's life force. Forests, mountains, and beaches typically have cleaner, more oxygen-rich air. Additionally, trees and other vegetation can emit beneficial compounds that support human health. The Japanese practice of forest bathing, Shinrin-yoku, highlights how simply being among trees can lower stress hormones and bolster the immune system. This resonates with the reference text's emphasis on pure sources of prana. Water is another crucial element. Natural, flowing water can be electrically charged with negative ions that uplift mood and energy. Structured water, mentioned in the reference text, refers to water in its most natural state, like that found in mountain springs or fast-flowing streams. Some experts suggest ways to replicate this at home by methods like vortexing or storing water in certain vessels, enhancing its vitality. Taken together, natural elements like sunlight, fresh water, and clean air amplify the prana that supports our physical and spiritual health. Aligning with nature doesn't always mean trekking through forests or living near a pristine river. Even simple acts, like keeping a few potted plants at home, taking regular walks in a nearby park, or letting sunlight into your living space, can help maintain a more balanced and healthy prana flow. When these lifestyle choices are combined with conscious breathwork, the synergy can be transformative. The body becomes an optimal vehicle for spiritual growth, and the mind becomes more still and receptive to divine whispers. The reference text delves into the crucial role of the diaphragm, explaining that it separates vital organs above, heart, lungs, brain, from those below, liver, stomach, kidneys, intestines. When we chest breathe, we primarily engage the sympathetic nervous system, appropriate for emergencies, but detrimental if prolonged. Chronic stress states can weaken digestion, immunity, and mental health. By contrast, diaphragmatic breathing, also called belly breathing, engages the parasympathetic nervous system. This promotes relaxation, digestion, and long-term health. Visualize it this way. The diaphragm is like a regulating valve. When used effectively, it balances the flow of energy between systems that keep you alert and those that heal and rejuvenate you. This synergy fosters homeostasis, an internal balance that paves the way for higher states of spiritual receptivity. In times of anxiety or panic, simply focusing on slow, deep, diaphragmatic breaths can pull the body out of a stress loop, enabling clearer thinking and emotional composure. In spiritual terms, a relaxed body and calm mind are prerequisites for hearing the still, small voice of God. If your system is perpetually in fight or flight, your awareness remains tethered to survival concerns. But the moment you switch to rest and digest, the mind quiets down. This shift allows inner wisdom to surface, making space for divine revelation of spiritual communion. Over time, consistent practice of diaphragmatic breathing becomes second nature, serving as a reliable anchor amid life's storms. With over 72,000 nadis crisscrossing the subtle body, our life force circulates like rivers in a vast network. Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna stand out as major highways of energy flow. When these channels are clogged, physical or emotional imbalances are often the result. Breathwork helps remove these energy blockages, allowing prana to flow optimally. A well-known metaphor compares this energy system to a garden hose. If the hose is kinked, water trickles out weakly or not at all, starving the plants. Likewise, if our nadis are congested through emotional trauma, stress, unhealthy lifestyle choices, or shallow breathing, our cells and organs receive diminished life force. By integrating breathing exercises into daily routines, these kinks can be gradually removed, reviving our vitality and mental clarity. That's where the reference text's emphasis on clearing blockages aligns with the bigger picture of holistic well-being. Additionally, the practice of alternate nostril breathing is especially renowned for balancing Ida and Pingala, enabling a more unobstructed flow through Sushumna. When this central channel becomes active, practitioners often describe a deep sense of peace, focus, and sometimes spiritual visions or feelings of oneness. While not explicitly stated in all spiritual texts, many modern spiritual practitioners discuss the law of assumption or related concepts, such as the law of attraction, to describe how our internal state influences external reality. Breathing fits neatly into this framework because when we breathe deeply and consciously, we naturally raise our energetic frequency. This uplift in frequency harmonizes with more positive experiences and outcomes in life. For example, if you combine a breathing practice with visualization or affirmations, you can intensify the emotional energy behind those intentions. Suppose you want a new job or a healthier relationship. By holding the vision of your ideal outcome in mind while breathing slowly and deeply, you can generate a powerful internal state, one that resonates with that desired outcome. It's as if you're broadcasting a strong signal into the quantum field. While skeptics may doubt, countless anecdotal testimonies and some emerging research in psychosomatic medicine suggest that there is merit to this interplay between consciousness, breath, and manifestation. If we view God as the source of all possibilities, then controlling the breath becomes a way to attune ourselves to God's frequency. In many Christian practices, this might be akin to praying with unwavering faith. In Eastern traditions, it could be akin to aligning with the universal consciousness. Either way, the breath is the tuning fork that helps us calibrate our energetic signal, making it more coherent and powerful. Such coherence can create openings for what feels like instantaneous revelation, a sudden clarity about our purpose, or a solution to a pressing problem. A key element that makes breathing a profound tool for spiritual revelation is the personal anecdotal evidence shared by countless practitioners. They recount experiences of entering a meditative state, perhaps through nadi shodhana or diaphragmatic breathing, and suddenly feeling flooded with light, love, or an unshakable sense of unity. Some describe hearing an inner voice that offers guidance or reassurance. Others speak of a radiant presence that envelops them in peace. In many religions, these experiences are seen as glimpses of the divine. Whether labeled as samadhi in yogic traditions, the indwelling of the Holy Spirit in Christianity, or satori in Zen Buddhism, the underlying commonality is the dissolution of egoic boundaries and a direct encounter with a higher reality. Breath is often the catalyst. The mundane mind recedes, and a more expansive awareness takes hold. From this vantage point, the phrase, "God reveals instantly," resonates with the lived truths of saints, mystics, and ordinary individuals who've tasted the divine through breath-based practices. Critics might dismiss these experiences as mere hallucinations or self-induced states, yet the transformative impact on the individual's life cannot be denied. Many find their priorities shifting, their capacity for compassion growing, and their sense of interconnectedness deepening. Put simply, these experiences often yield lasting positive changes that go beyond the ephemeral high of a single meditation session. In many traditions, the breath is used as the primary object of meditation because it is always available, neutral, and intimately tied to our state of being. By observing the breath without judgment, simply noticing it as it is, our mental chatter starts to calm. This stillness creates a fertile ground for deeper spiritual insights. In Christian mysticism, practices like the Jesus Prayer incorporate the breath, inhaling while saying internally, "Lord Jesus Christ," and exhaling with, "Have mercy on me." Similarly, in Buddhist Vipassana meditation, practitioners focus on the sensation of air passing through the nostrils. These traditions converge on the idea that paying attention to the breath in a meditative way slows the whirlpool of thoughts, making space for the sacred to reveal itself. Over time, the synergy between breath and meditation yields an expanded sense of identity. Instead of viewing yourself as a limited being grappling with endless challenges, you begin to sense a unitive awareness that is vast, compassionate, and inherently wise. This shift in self-perception can be sudden or gradual, but either way, it is profound. When the reference text asserts that God reveals instantly, it could also be interpreted as that moment when the veil of separation lifts, and you recognize the divine unity in and around you. In Hebrew, The word ruach is used in the Old Testament to denote God's breath or spirit moving over the waters at creation. In Greek, pneuma similarly signifies wind or spirit. These linguistic roots in Judeo-Christian tradition reinforce the understanding that breath is a divine force, integral to creation and sustenance. Meanwhile, Islam speaks of the ruh, which is breathed into humans, giving them life. Across faiths, breath is intimately tied to the spark of the divine within humanity. Such interfaith parallels highlight a universal truth, that breath is more than just physical air. It is a spiritual current connecting every living being. This unifying function helps explain why controlling or refining the breath can yield such profound spiritual experiences. Whether you call it prana, chi, ruach, or the Holy Spirit, the principle remains consistent. When breath is aligned, God or the divine reveals itself more readily. Moreover, this recognition bridges religious divides. Contemplatives from different backgrounds can appreciate that breath is our shared lifeline. It is a reminder that whatever our theological labels, the experience of the sacred is available to all, accessible with each conscious inhale and exhale. This universal aspect of breath fosters a sense of spiritual kinship, making it a powerful avenue for interfaith dialogue and mutual understanding. Kundalini Shakti is often referred to as the divine feminine energy coiled at the base of the spine. In many yogic traditions, conscious breathwork is among the most reliable ways to encourage Kundalini to awaken and ascend through the chakras. While the journey can be tumultuous, sometimes accompanied by intense physical and emotional sensations, the ultimate goal is union with the divine masculine principle, symbolized by Shiva at the crown chakra. This union dissolves the perceived dualities of life, good versus bad, self versus other, human versus divine. Practitioners describe episodes of bliss, cosmic vision, and a realization that everything is interwoven in a single cosmic dance. Such experiences align perfectly with the script statement that once you breathe like this, transition happens and God reveals instantly. The transition, in the context of Kundalini, is a transformative leap from identification with mundane reality to an immersion in the boundless. Yet, it is vital to approach Kundalini practices with respect and caution. Awakening this energy prematurely, or without proper guidance, can result in physical and psychological imbalances. A balanced approach, often under the guidance of an experienced teacher, ensures the safe unfolding of Kundalini's transformative power. Breath, again, stands as the primary tool for self-regulation. It can quell surging energies when they become overwhelming and encourage the gentle ascent of this sacred fire. When prana flows freely, it not only enriches our spiritual life, but also fuels creativity and intuition in practical areas. Artists, musicians, and writers frequently speak of entering a flow state, where ideas seem to arise effortlessly. Scientific studies correlate flow states with changes in brainwave patterns, typically a shift toward alpha or theta frequencies. Conscious breathing can help induce such states, quieting the analytical mind and letting inspiration emerge from deeper levels of consciousness. In the same vein, intuitive insights often arrive when the mental noise is turned down. By focusing on the breath and relaxing the nervous system, you effectively allow your deeper subconscious or higher self to communicate without interference. Innovations, problem-solving breakthroughs, or sudden clarity about a relationship or career path can materialize. Many refer to these moments as divine downloads, a term that underscores the sense that the insight is not coming from the ego, but from a higher, guiding intelligence. Breath is the catalyst. Whenever you feel stuck, blocked, or uninspired, try stepping away from the situation and engage in a few minutes of deep, mindful breathing. Not only does this reset your physiology by lowering stress hormones, but it also reorients your awareness. The synergy between a calm body, a quiet mind, and open channels of prana can lead to startling revelations, mini epiphanies that might feel like direct messages from God or from your higher self. Given its universality and simplicity, breath might be the most inclusive spiritual practice. You need no special equipment, no expensive retreat, and no elaborate ritual to benefit from mindful breathing. You can practice it virtually anywhere, on a crowded bus, at your desk, or in the solitude of your bedroom. In that sense, breath is a great equalizer, accessible to people of all ages, backgrounds, and physical abilities. Some traditions emphasize that the breath is the most potent of all spiritual tools, precisely because it is so immediate. Every moment, breath is there, and every moment you have a choice. Will you let your breath remain unconscious and habitual, or will you engage it mindfully? The deeper you venture into mindful breathing, the more you realize that this choice can drastically alter your internal state, which in turn influences your external experiences. In times of crisis or when you feel disconnected, returning to the breath can rapidly re-establish your sense of presence. Over and over, spiritual teachers advise, come back to the breath, because it is the anchor in the ever-changing sea of life. Through consistent practice, you might find that what initially took effort becomes second nature. The boundary between your breath practice and your daily life dissolves, leading to a seamless awareness of the sacred in all moments. The phrase "God reveals instantly" may sound hyperbolic, but it conveys a mystical reality reported by many spiritual seekers, a sudden, unequivocal sense of divine presence. This instant can be triggered by various factors: a crisis, a stroke of grace, a profound piece of art, or even a single mindful breath. In yoga, it's referred to as samadhi. In Christianity, it's sometimes called a conversion experience or being born again. In Sufism, they speak of fana, the dissolution into God's essence. All these labels point to an intimate realization that we are not separate from the Creator. The boundary dissolves, and for that moment, the heart swells with indescribable love, peace, and clarity. Often, after such experiences, life is never the same. One might walk away with new purpose, or at least an unshakable awareness that there is more to reality than meets the eye. Breath can serve as the gateway to such an unveiling, because it's the simplest, most direct way to turn inward, quiet the mind, and open the heart. While such revelations may not happen daily, each conscious breath plants a seed that can eventually bloom into these transcendent moments. Instead of chasing mystical experiences, the practice is to remain consistent, patient, and open. One of the challenges modern seekers face is integrating these profound inner practices with the external demands of daily life. Some worry that focusing on breath and spirituality might distract them from professional goals or family obligations. Yet, the opposite often proves true. Mindful breathing and spiritual practices can enhance productivity, deepen relationships, and reduce stress, ultimately improving performance in all areas of life. By maintaining regular breath-focused rituals, you effectively anchor yourself to a stable inner core. This stability prevents you from being tossed about by every external circumstance. For instance, a tough day at work or conflict at home becomes more manageable because your sense of equilibrium no longer hinges solely on external factors. You can remain compassionate, yet assertive, empathetic, yet clear-headed, precisely because your nervous system isn't stuck in fight-or-flight mode. Furthermore, spiritual insight gained through breathwork and meditation can catalyze creative problem-solving in the workplace and foster genuine connections with loved ones. The more you realize your unity with the universe, the less you see others as competitors or threats. This shift in perception can lead to healthier collaborations, improved communication, and a more harmonious atmosphere overall. Far from being an escape, mindful breath is a tool for thriving in the world. At the heart of any spiritual path lies an element of faith or trust in something larger than oneself. Whether you view this through a theistic lens, trust in God, or a non-theistic one, trust in a universal intelligence, breath serves as a tangible symbol of that faith. Each inhale is an act of receiving what the universe offers. Each exhale is a gesture of surrender and letting go. When you choose to breathe consciously, you implicitly affirm a trust in the benevolence of life itself. You relinquish the tight grip of anxiety or control, if only for a moment, allowing a higher wisdom to guide you. This letting go can be deeply healing, as it opens the door to grace, a sense of being supported and guided by an unseen but loving presence. This act of faith might be as simple as trusting that a few minutes of deep breathing can help you face an important meeting or a difficult conversation. Over time, it can evolve into trusting that life's challenges are opportunities for growth, orchestrated by a higher intelligence. This is how small, seemingly ordinary acts of breath awareness can lead to profound spiritual maturity. In recent decades, fields like quantum physics and neuroscience have introduced revolutionary ideas about the nature of reality and consciousness. While these scientific theories remain complex and sometimes speculative, they do converge on one intriguing point. The observer plays a crucial role in shaping reality. Consciousness is not merely a passive recipient of stimuli, it actively participates in the fabric of what we perceive as real. Breath-based practices can be seen as a means of refining the observer. The calmer and more focused the mind becomes, the more coherent our observations. This coherence can collapse potentialities into realities that align with our highest intentions. The law of assumption, or attraction, hinges on this premise, that our inner state influences the external world. When we breathe consciously, we align mind, body, and spirit in a coherent wave. This coherence resonates through our interactions and choices, subtly molding our reality. Of course, the specifics of how this works remain a mystery, but from a spiritual perspective, the essence is clear. A refined consciousness, shaped by breath, becomes a powerful force for positive change, both within and without. By shifting from chaos to coherence, we invite an environment in which divine guidance or revelation can become more tangible. That said, the greatest proof is experiential. Rather than debate the physics of it, one can simply practice mindful breathing and observe the shifts that unfold in day-to-day life. While breath is the initial gateway, the heart is often considered the spiritual amplifier. Many meditation traditions encourage pairing breath awareness with heart-centered practices, like generating gratitude, compassion, or love. Research from organizations like the HeartMath Institute suggests that positive heart-centered emotions can synchronize with coherent brainwave patterns, reducing stress and fostering emotional resilience. When you combine conscious breathing with genuine feelings of love or gratitude, you essentially supercharge the effect. It becomes easier to perceive subtle realms, sense guidance, and experience what the reference text calls God revealing instantly. You're no longer just quieting the mind, you're also activating the profound energies of the heart. In many mystical traditions, the heart is viewed as the seat of the soul, the throne of God, or the gateway to unconditional love. Therefore, aligning breath with heart-centered emotion can rapidly elevate you to states of higher awareness. This synergy underscores why prayer in many religious contexts involves not only the mind, but also the heart. The faithful often place a hand over their chest, close their eyes, and breathe gently as they speak or think their prayers. This bodily posture naturally guides attention to the breath and heart, uniting physiology with devotion. It is here, in the resonance between breath, heartbeat, and heartfelt intention, that divine revelation can spark suddenly, offering solace, guidance, or inspiration. It's natural to encounter skepticism or internal resistance when first exploring breathwork or its spiritual implications. Some might think, this sounds too simple. How can breathing show me God? Others might fear the changes that spiritual experiences could bring, perhaps uneasy about shifting old beliefs or lifestyles. Yet, simplicity is precisely the power of breath. Since it's universally accessible, it doesn't rely on any external authority or complex doctrine. Overcoming doubt often requires direct experimentation. Approach breathwork as an open-ended inquiry. Let me see what happens if I consistently practice mindful breathing for a few weeks. Track how you feel, how you sleep, how you interact with others. Such empirical evidence can help dismantle skepticism more effectively than intellectual debates. Furthermore, spiritual maturity involves recognizing that doubt itself can be a catalyst for deeper exploration. It propels you to question, to probe, and to refine your practice. When you harness doubt, rather than run from it, you transform it into a stepping stone toward understanding. In time, small personal victories, a calmer mind, a kindly response in a tense situation, a moment of unexplainable peace, gradually build faith in the power of breath. As your confidence grows, you may find yourself experiencing phenomena that once seemed inconceivable, reinforcing the script's core message. Another powerful aspect of breathwork is that it can be practiced in groups, fostering a sense of collective energy. Yoga studios, meditation centers, and spiritual retreats often organize group sessions in which participants synchronize their breathing. This collective resonance can heighten each individual's experience, creating an atmosphere that is palpably charged with prana or spiritual energy. If in-person gatherings are not accessible, many online communities and virtual sessions exist. Zoom-based breathwork classes, meditation apps, and social media groups dedicated to conscious living can offer mutual support. Sharing experiences, such as breakthroughs, challenges, or questions, creates a community of practice that sustains motivation and deepens understanding. Group practice also highlights how breath can be a universal language. People from diverse religious or cultural backgrounds can join together for a breath session without needing to agree on specific doctrines. The experience of unity and harmony often emerges naturally, transcending differences and reminding us of our shared humanity. In that sense, breath-based communities can become microcosms of a more harmonious world, one breath at a time. Prayer in its many forms, spoken, silent, or even written, can be supercharged by a mindful approach to breathing. When you set an intention or utter a prayer, each inhalation can be seen as drawing divine energy inward, and each exhalation as sending out your prayer or blessing to the universe. This rhythmic interplay turns prayer into a full-body experience, bridging the mental act of asking or focusing with the physical act of breath. Some spiritual traditions encourage a breath-aligned mantra. For instance, inhaling with so and exhaling with hum, meaning I am that, is a classic Sanskrit practice that reminds practitioners of their divine identity. In Christian contexts, breathing along with Abba or Amen can offer a similar unifying effect, merging body, mind, and spirit. By fusing intention and breath, you anchor your prayers in the realm of felt experience, making them more resonant and heartfelt. This technique can be used spontaneously. Standing in the kitchen, you might pause for a few breaths before eating, silently offering gratitude. Or before a difficult meeting, you might breathe in a sense of calm and exhale your intention for a peaceful resolution. These small acts exemplify how breath, intention, and prayer converge, enabling the ephemeral realm of faith to manifest concretely in your daily life. In numerous spiritual teachings, the phrase, I am, is revered as a declaration of our divine nature. In the Christian Bible, God self-identifies as I am that I am. In Eastern spirituality, Aham Brahmasmi translates to I am Brahman, acknowledging the unity of the individual soul with the cosmic source. Each breath can become a living affirmation of I am. Inhaling, you affirm your existence. Exhaling, you release all that is not aligned with your highest truth. This continuous cycle can gradually erode the illusion of separation. Ego-based identifications, like job titles, social roles, or personal achievements, become secondary to the deeper recognition that you are, in essence, a spark of the divine. When done consistently, this awareness can blossom into a state where every breath reaffirms divine unity, culminating in the experience of God revealing instantly. The shift can happen in small increments or come as a dramatic epiphany. Language here is limited. Words like God or self attempt to describe a reality that transcends linguistic constructs. Yet, the direct experience of the breath, bridging the human and the divine, needs no words. It is felt viscerally in the heart, recognized intuitively in the mind, and validated in the quietude of the soul. Even with years of practice and countless revelations, seasoned spiritual practitioners often emphasize humility. The breath can reveal divine truths, but each revelation hints at an even greater mystery. Paradoxically, the more you experience, the more you realize how infinite and indescribable the divine truly is. This cultivated humility protects against spiritual pride or dogmatism, reminding us that each breath is a gift. Accepting the mystery also alleviates the need for absolute certainty. One can remain open to experiences beyond current comprehension, trusting that each stage of the journey has lessons to teach. Breath becomes a companion and a teacher, guiding you gently through life's inevitable ups and downs, heartbreaks and ecstasies, breakthroughs and plateaus. In that gentle guidance, God, or however you conceive ultimate reality, becomes a living presence rather than an abstract concept. This openness fosters compassion as well. When you realize everyone else is also breathing, also connected to the same source, empathy arises naturally. Other people's struggles and joys become relatable facets of the shared human and cosmic drama. In this state, spiritual arrogance has no footing. Only reverence and gratitude remain. While structured practices like pranayama are immensely beneficial, the ultimate goal is to integrate conscious breath into every aspect of life. That means bringing awareness to breathing not just during formal sessions, but also while eating, walking, reading, or conversing. Over time, your breath transforms from a sporadic exercise into a continuous background hum of mindfulness. Living in the flow of breath bestows a certain grace. Challenges become less threatening, success becomes less intoxicating, and relationships become more authentic. Why? Because your sense of identity is no longer tethered to fleeting conditions or external validation. You're rooted in a stable awareness that hums quietly beneath the surface of all experiences. Some might describe this as living in a state of perpetual prayer or ongoing meditation. The lines between spiritual practice and everyday life blur, eventually disappearing. In this seamless existence, God's presence or the divine intelligence becomes tangible. Each breath is an affirmation of life and an invitation for the sacred to enter more deeply. It's akin to planting a seed in fertile soil. The seed may germinate quickly, even overnight, but the plant's growth, flowering, and fruiting unfold over a longer period. Each conscious breath nurtures this spiritual seed, providing the energy and awareness needed for its maturation. Over time, the initial aha moments of divine revelation become a sustained state of living with the divine, not just glimpsing it. Acknowledging this balance between sudden revelation and gradual integration can prevent disappointment. Some people have dramatic peak experiences only to feel disillusioned when the intensity fades. Understanding that breath-based spiritual growth involves cycles, peaks and valleys, expansions and consolidations, can help maintain steady progress. In every cycle, the breath remains a faithful ally, gently guiding you back to center. In the grand scheme of human existence, breath is both the simplest of acts and the most profound. It sustains life at the physical level and also acts as a subtle bridge to our spiritual essence. By aligning with this natural rhythm, you gain an opportunity to explore the layers of your being, the physical, energetic, mental, wisdom, and bliss bodies, ultimately arriving at a place where the boundary between self and the divine dissolves. From ancient yogic texts to modern neuroscientific studies, evidence converges on one point. Conscious breathing is transformative. It can alleviate stress, enhance creativity, foster emotional balance, and open doors to spiritual experiences that words can barely capture. Each breath presents an invitation. Will you participate in the miracle of existence consciously or merely coast on autopilot? When you choose the conscious path, even a single inhalation and exhalation can pivot you into a realm where God reveals instantly. Perhaps this revelation manifests as a feeling of indescribable peace, an insight into the nature of reality, or a sudden gush of love. Or it may be a soft whisper affirming that you are never alone. Whatever form it takes, the potential lies in each moment, woven into the very air you breathe. May you carry this wisdom forward, allowing your breath to be your guide, your healer, and your sacred link to the infinite. In the quiet space between inhaling and exhaling, you stand at the threshold of profound transition. Step through with faith and discover the divine that has been there all along, just one breath away.